We're going. And
Ooh.
Welcome to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. Are you a goofball that loves Giants football? If so, sit back and relax as we talk about the team that both excites and frustrates us so much. And now, here are your goofball hosts, Drew and Rob.
welcome, fellow goofballs, to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. I am Drew, joined as always by...
I'm Rob. Let's talk about some of that training camp recaps.
Oh, yes, it is time for another update on the local training camp here with the New York Giants. Plus, we have some more Giants news here. Plus, dare I say, another new Giant might be on the way soon.
Oh?
Plus, did I hear about a 5K?
Huh?
I don't mean $5,000. You have to actually go ahead and walk or run for 5 kilometers.
Oh, God,
First off,
someone chasing me?
Can I ask a question? Why are these races always in kilometers? It's goddamn America. We don't use the metric system.
That's actually kind of a lie. We just invented it just to say to England.
I'm just saying. Still,
Listen, anytime we do anything scientific, it's all metrics. That's what I'm saying.
Screw metrics. Anyway.
I thought this was America.
America. All right.
Yeah. Don't demonetize me on YouTube. Dun dun.
Let's get into the training camp talk here. So, first off, we have the training camp edition from the 30th here. So we didn't give you that. Reports we're talking so much about Hard Knocks and new players. We didn't get a chance to give you guys that yet. So, on the 30th there, Giants participated on started off with a 9-on-7 drill there. Now, for those who might not be familiar with a 9-on-7 drill, basically think of it as the offense in a double tight end set with no wide receivers. You got the running back, the quarterback, the 5 linemen, the 2 tight ends, and that's where you're going with. And then on defense, you're just playing against the front 7. So the line and the linebackers there. So basically, it's a drill you use though to go ahead and test your run defense and your run offense at that point there. So the offense though definitely won the battle overall. Daniel Bellinger, which is good to hear some good news about him there, was given credit for sealing the edge multiple times there for some big runs. It should be noted though that Dexter Lawrence did not participate because of the illness he's been fighting. So that does make a difference.
And what side was Belly on?
Bellies are on both sides. That's what mine is. Straight in the middle.
It's robust,
but it's just got to be noted that though, because if you take out the best nose tackle in all of the NFL, yeah, no wonder the offense was winning against the defense there. Shocker. Who would have thought? Who would have thought?
And wait, and Evan Neal's still on pup, right?
Yeah, Evan.
Just want to make sure. Yeah,
he's still on the pup. He's still barely the team.
Yeah,
wasn't for that contract, he'd probably gone. One-on-one drills though happened again, and those are fun to watch. I love watching the videos of that. Andrew Thomas was absolutely the star of the drill. Aaron Stinnie, Josh Ezeudu, Jermain Eluemenor, and Jalen Mayfield also look pretty good in the drill. On defense, Jordon Phillips, DJ Davidson, Rakeem Nunez-Roches, Timmy Horne, Jordon Riley, Azeez Ojulari, and Brian Burns all had wins during the drill as well. On the one-on-ones on the receiver and defensive backs side there, Daniel Jones threw a nice deep ball over to Isaiah Hodgins for a touchdown. Tommy DeVito threw a touchdown to undrafted rookie John Jiles as well. Andru Phillips also grabbed an interception, and Tre Hawkins broke up a pair of passes as well. So good news on offense and defense, which also, of course, means bad news on offense and defense. That's the fun of this whole thing. Like it's so hard to like pinpoint. Like you notice like what people are saying right now is like, oh my God, Malik Neighbors, he's always open. He's just uncoverable.
Which means that Banks is not looking good.
Exactly. And I'm not trying to play devil's advocate to the negativity here. I'm just saying, understand that either one of them is a possible scenario. And I think we'll have a better idea of how good everybody is during joint practices next week. And, in the preseason kind of starts there against the Lions. But, it's a good team. But I think people just, like I said, take everything with a certain grain of salt in these stuff here. But if you're doing something good and you keep on being mentioned in these reports, chances are you're having a good camp. That's the biggest take you can have away from this thing. So, during team drills, Gervarrius Owens, we got a Gervarrius Owens signing here. This is the first. This is the first Gervarrius Owens sighting, I think, all training camp. Deflecting the ball to himself to secure an interception. Barely got his feet on the sideline as well as a really nice kind of like almost like a wide receiver-esque kind of interception catch there. Nick McCloud had back-to-back pass deflections and almost got an interception. Bobby Okereke and Timmy Horne had nice run stops. Andru Phillips got a pass deflection. Cordell Flott knocked a pass away intended for Neighbors. Brian Burns almost got an interception after a pass was deflected at the line of scrimmage by Jordon Riley. Kayvon Thibodeaux, Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeaux, Dyontae Johnson, and Andrew Adams all had pressures that could have been sacks. Wan'Dale Robinson and Dennis Houston both had sliding catches as well during the drills there. So, like I said, positive on both sides there. And of course, the biggest thing is now that he's signed, you do see some Greg Van Roten also going onto there as well. And the fun thing for Dable right now, because we all know Dable loves doing this, there's cross-training going on also because of the JMS injury at that point. So John Michael Schmitz with the shoulder injury still hasn't been playing in these camps. So you've had Greg Van Roten has gone in at center. You've had John Runyon Jr. has played center. They're doing a little bit of moving around here, which I think is interesting. I would have thought you put Schlappman in personally at that point there, since he's potentially your backup center. But no, they're kind of trying to see what these guys can do, which makes you wonder if Schlappman may be on the bubble, or is it just they just care that much about cross training these guys at different positions? Either one's a possibility.
Yeah, because I mean, let's think about it. Like, it's like people are usually at two schools in my league. You want your line to be kind of like Team 6. Yes. Well,
I'm a high school.
You want your line to be like either the dudes. This is the wall that you built. These are the guys you're there. These are the backups. Or there's some people like they like the way other people work, and some coaches like the interchangeability of like, all right, your guard, let's go to tackle. All right, your guard, let's go to center. Like they like the ability to switch over just so you understand what the guy next to you is doing. You're not wrong for either of those thoughts. You're not, because like it does help the play overall on both sides.
Listen, as far as I'm concerned, you put in the guys who you want starting, because 100%. This is training camp. You got 3 out of 5 guys with new positions on your offensive line. You got another guy who's injured, so it makes the only guy from last year right now on that offensive line is Andrew Thomas.
Correct. And listen, I'm not saying what's right or wrong. Those are the two school of thoughts there.
One school is wrong.
See that you're just thinking right. That's fine, but they're not wrong, because like, listen, you want the wall. You want the wall there, but you also want the player that's the guy playing guard understand what his tackle's doing and what his center's doing. Like you want the interchangeability. You want the tackle to understand what the guard's doing. Yeah. So like playing those positions helps you understand them better, right? You go back and forth, so this way you kind of know what each other would do in that situation. It's not a wrong thing to do, but at the same time, we got burnt the first year Dable was there by trying to do the wall.
It's all about.
And then last year, they tried to do the interchangeability thing. They got burnt with that as well.
Oh, they might have been more burnt by Bobby Johnson. They were burnt by anything else, to be honest here.
Which you're not wrong. So
call it like it is.
You're not wrong. I'm just.
I'd like to speak.
Yeah, you got to bring it up. Like, listen, if like you want to talk about this and that, like we're talking about the pros and cons, but you also have to lay down the history of what happened here. So like we wanted these other players. This is what we're gonna play. Injury happened. Line fell apart. Last year, you're like, let's go soft. Well, yeah. I mean, Bobby Johnson didn't help either. But Last year, he tried to have them all play different roles, figure out who's going to be what, and they all play like Jello because no one played the same spot. No one gelled together.
Yeah.
So,
to me, it's just the big thing, though, is that I understood a little more last year because he had a lot of returning faces, at least in training camp. Later on, when the injuries happened, all new people came in and stuff like that. But going into the season, there was a lot of, people that were same as the prior year. This year, you got left guard is going to be new, right guard is going to be new, right tackle is going to be new. And depending on what happens with JMS and this injury and how long he's out for, center might be new for a little bit as well.
Yeah, so this is
continuity with these guys.
You do, but here's also the issue. Who's our right tackle?
Jermain Eluemenor.
What other position does he play?
Left guard is where he was actually at as
well.
So
that's when we got him. So, that's where. Yeah, exactly. So, who's playing our left guard?
Right now, Aaron Stinnie,
or
John Runyon, or Craig Brent Roden.
So what I'm getting at is a lot of these guys are interchangeable as it is. So the Giants also might be trying to figure out who plays the best at what position with the guys next to them.
Yeah, we'll see. I think they're just trying to be crazy. That's what I think.
That's what you think, but it also they could be doing.
Put them in and keep them in. Let them get used to playing together. They're not used to playing together.
How many Raiders do we have on the team now? How many Green Bay players do we have on the team now?
Green Bay players, 1 on the offensive line.
Yeah,
we have 2 Raiders.
Yeah,
so the 2 Raiders guys are used to playing each other. But if you're throwing Greg Van Roten over at center, that's not really helping. That's not also helping Jermain Eluemenor. I'm just saying, like this is.
They may I wouldn't go crazy over a July training camp day of changing players up.
I'm not going crazy, but I am suggesting we need some continuity, and I want to see
them. You're not wrong.
Put them in spots, leave them in spots, and call it a day. Let them get used to playing next to each other. Because poor Andrew Thomas, that guy has had so many guys next to him. It's not even funny. Like he changes side pieces more often than Leonardo DiCaprio. It's horrible.
Probably about the same age too.
They probably are, because by the time they hit 25, we realize they're shitty players and they're gone.
Shitty side pieces.
Leonardo DiCaprio still looks like he's 30. Good for him. Let's get into actual football talk again here with training camp from today, because we had to practice again today. They did skip yesterday, but they're back with a vengeance today. And by a vengeance, I mean they're back in the light shells and helmets. But this was honestly one of the best days report-wise we've got in a long time. Same as we talked earlier with the prior day, where it's like, okay, is this player good or is that player bad? Like, kind of thing. You look at what's going on with training camp, and a lot of times the offense is not as good as the defense. And that's been one of the people's kind of battle cry right now is, oh, Daniel Jones doesn't look good. We got to get rid of Daniel Jones. Like, he's had a week of training camp. People, shut up.
Coming off an ACL injury, which
exactly.
People don't look good coming off an
Drew
ACL
Lock
injury.
Is your backup. Like, stop it.
Yeah, like
if we had drafted
a young quarterback,
like if we drafted a young quarterback, I would understand that potential. Like, hey, let's see if we got this kid because we're tired of seeing Daniel Jones. No, we know what Drew Lock is. Anyway, the offense looked very good today. Daniel Jones looked very good today, and this is the first practice that I can sit there and say that after. The whole thing was over there. They had good series and bad series, but a whole practice? We're talking about practice.
Practice, man.
So they did all basically team drills here today. So first period, Daniel Jones completed his first 4 passes, including a stop route to wide receiver Darius Slayton and a rocket over the middle to rookie tight end Theo Johnson. Good to see him in the mix there. 3 plays later, Drew Lock hit tight end Jack Stahl in stride on a flag route. Alex Johnson ended the first period with an INT, and he was probably the player of the day here, Alex Johnson. Second team period. Sorry. Not a lot of things happened, to be very frank. It was kind of a boring team period. The only kind of exciting play of the day, the team period, I should say, is Bobby Okereke tipped a pass from Drew Lock into the hands of Alex Johnson for a second interception of the day there. So, this is a kid that we talked about. We got him as an undrafted rookie free agent here. The main reason we got him was because of his turnover ability at UCLA. That's what he's been doing. That's what he did. So, here he is doing his thing, and that's what we got him for. That's exactly what we got him for. So, next up there, the third time period, Daniel Jones started off with a screen for wide receiver Wan'Dale Robinson, who found space pretty quickly, turned up the field for a big gain. Next play, Tyrone Tracy Jr., a rookie running back from Purdue, ran to the left edge for a big gain. Then the next play, rookie wide receiver Malik Neighbors, the new potential star for the Giants there, was wide open down the right sideline for a 40-yard touchdown from Daniel Jones. Now, I will say this because that play went everywhere. That was like all over social media today. If people are curious, Cordell Flott was on him. Since the Giants practice report from John Schmelk did not say that. I saw the video. It was Cordell Flott. I mean, wide open. Like he had like 10 yards. He could have stopped for tea.
Yeah.
Like that's how
I see in London. It's tea time.
Oh my God. It was a really bad coverage. Or it was missed coverage by a safety that was supposed to come down and help him. I don't want to fully put it on Flock, but for all I know, that was the play. I don't have the playbook in front of me. I don't know what the design is at that point, but he was wide open. Next play, Eric Gray caught a throw down the right side from Drew Lock. Alex Johnson again, and new corner Breon Borders had good coverage on deep throws. A deep throw over to John Jiles as well, another rookie there. Fourth team period there. Corner Deonte Banks, who again we're counting on so much this year, started the series by breaking up a short pass to wide receiver Wan'Dale Robinson. 4 plays later, Bobby Okereke tips another pass over the middle that was then intercepted by second-year linebacker Dyontae Johnson, who, guys, if you don't have a chance to go there, watch the videos, that kind of stuff, Dyontae Johnson's having a really good training camp. That's a guy that's starting to make a name for himself in camp there. You're seeing him, again, who was he next to? Bobby Okereke. It means Dyontae Johnson was out there for the first team defense. That doesn't mean he's going to unseat Micah McFadden. It just means he's been having a very good camp, and the Giants want to see what he does if they have to put him in the starting lineup. 2 plays later, Daniel Jones rolls out to his right and throws a pass to Jalen Hyatt, who nearly got a touchdown. The second team offense moved the ball down the field pretty well, ended their drive with a Devin Singletary touchdown, which I thought was interesting because look what I just said. Second team offense.
It's Singletary.
Devin Singletary is not a second team guy. But no. I think what they did is they kind of popped him in there to kind of give him a little more playing time with the book there, get a little more time with some of the players in general around him. But it was interesting to see that they're popping him in with the second team when he's obviously the first team running back. Almost like they're trying to get some confidence for the offense. Almost. Best play of the drive, though, was when Drew Lock rolled out to his left and threw to wide receiver Isaiah Hodgins on the sideline, who dragged his feet to secure the catch and stay in bounds there. I love those kind of catches. I don't know what it is. There's something about old school, like toes on the line kind of catches that I freaking
just drag it across.
Is this a good time to mention? When's the last time you seen a Giant do that? It's been a while, right?
Both feet or 1 foot. Because Wan'Dale did it last year, I want to say.
I just don't think I've seen it very often lately.
It's not often. Not often.
Yeah.
No.
And I don't know if it's just because of the lack of offense as a whole, or it's just something that the wide receivers don't specialize in. But I said, just something I was kind of thinking in my head when I read that there earlier today. The big surprise, though, and it's still somewhat a surprise because we don't know who, but there was offensive coaches, including Carmen Brasillo, that went into a room that was a little hidden. I shouldn't say room, but a section of the field that was a little hidden there with a top over it. And they were working out some players. We don't know what players they're working out. But if Brasillo was there, it's a reasonable assumption that it's probably offensive line. You would usually bring out the offensive line coach for offensive line things. Like,
usually how that works.
Crazy.
Bring that personnel coach in for that. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think we have no clue who it is. I wouldn't be entirely shocked if Justin Pugh was there. Just call me crazy. I have no
hanging out
on that.
in New Jersey. He's been
and
eating at all the nice restaurants.
He's been saying point blank he wants to play for the Giants. So listen, if he's going to take a minimum deal and not have any guarantees, why not put him on the roster?
Listen, shoot your shot, man.
Yeah,
do what you gotta do.
He can't play any worse than Evan Neal. I mean, what? Who said that?
Definitely not Evan Neal. He didn't say that.
I didn't. Yeah, he never would. All righty. So we also had an announcement here. The Giants announced that they are going to repeat and have another Fan Fest this year. That's their 4th annual Fan Fest, along with a 5K run. By the way, I did look it up. Since we are in America, we're going to call it a 3.1 mile run. I looked it up. It sounds so much better. 3.1 miles. Not 5K. We're not.
No.
Damn it.
Actually, that term comes from the Greeks, but okay, whatever. It's all Greek to me.
Whatever. Exactly. Windex. Wundgate can all. So it's going to be the 6th of September, which is a Friday at 5 p.m. at MetLife Stadium. I will say this, and listen, it's a nice gesture. The Giants are doing this, but I'm sorry, 5 p.m. on a Friday?
Yeah.
Like, are you going to be celebrating the working man while they're working?
Or just
is that what we're doing? Is that what we're doing? 5 o'clock. People are not even getting out of the office till 5 o'clock.
Yeah, there's no way I'm leaving Central Jersey.
Yeah. Like, you have to take the day off basically to go.
Yeah.
Like, that's not very fair, I think, to the fans. That to me was a mistake. And, I think you could have started it a little later, done it on the weekend, even maybe the weekend before that. Again, depending what they have already booked at MetLife. I should say that part of it there, because they're trying to do it at MetLife. But worst comes worst, do it at Timex. I don't care. I don't think the fans would care. Yeah. I think they might like to see in that field that they see on TV all the time in person and all, and be on the field and be with all the players like that.
It'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, I think it'd be a little different.
And you know what? It would actually be smart, too, for the Giants, because not only would they get the revenue for doing whatever they have to do at the weekend at MetLife, at whatever they're doing on Friday o'clock, but they also get the revenue of people coming in doing 5K.
Yeah.
Double dip.
Well, they're going to do the part of the 5K there, which we'll get to in a second here. But I should say, by the way, Quest Diagnostics Training Center. I always call it Timex because we remember you used to have the big Timex logo on the side of the building and everything.
Yeah.
You used to see from the turnpike, so I always still want to call it that. Anyway, this was the quote from Nilay Shah, the Senior Vice President of Marketing and Brand Strategy. He said, "We look forward to continuing our 100th season activations," is the quote actually. That can't be right. It's got to be celebrations. Yeah. So I forget what site I copied and pasted the quote from, but yeah, they were wrong on that one. With an expanded Fan Fest, which will include a collection of some of the greatest players to ever wear a Giants uniform under one roof, and the first ever drone show at MetLife Stadium. Celebration weekend will be a time for all fans to celebrate the rich history of the New York Giants. So, yeah, like I said, it's a nice gesture. I like that they do a Fan Fest. I like to do something for the fans. I mean, that's all well and good. I just think you do it on the weekend or you do it later. And if you do it later, you make it difficult for kids. I mean, I don't have kids. I couldn't care less. You can do it till 2 o'clock in the morning. I'd be fine with it. But if someone had kids, doing it later is a little more difficult. Like I said, I would have loved to see them do it on a weekend.
Yeah, do like 10 o'clock on a Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, anyway, first 10,000 fans will receive a commemorative 100th season flag. The event will include also legends autographs, panel discussions, historical exhibits, on-field celebration, and appearances by the top 100 Giants, and a special 100th season drone light and fireworks show to end the evening, weather permitting, of course. So it's a nice event. I've never got the chance to go myself. I talked about coming up for it last year, and I had planned to come up for it even, and then they changed when they were going to have it when I already had plans.
That's right.
Yeah, because like last year they changed it. What they did this year again, having it right around the first week of the season, whereas in the past they'd had it towards the end of training camp. So it's like I said, it's a nice event. I'm sure they're probably doing it this way now for the last 2 years because if you remember the last one that they had, which was the rookie season for Brian Dable here in Giants, there was a few injuries in that joint practice they did at MetLife instead. So I think that's probably what changed it. If I remember correctly, was it Marcus McKeithen was the guy who tore his ACL in that?
Yes,
I think it was. Yeah,
definitely McKeithen.
So, and I think one or two other people got injured as well. So it's kind of like you don't want to injure your players for a fan fest. That does seem a little ridiculous. That part I will agree. But I'm sorry, last year I was not going to see the movie of Cars or whatever they were playing on the Jumbotron. Like, I'm sorry. No.
What about the sequel?
No, I wouldn't for Cars 3 if there is one. I assume there probably is.
I think there is.
Probably.
First it works.
Now, if you're traveling for it the next day, though, the Saturday, September 7th, the Giants Foundation will also host a 5K race and kids run. So the kids run will be 9 a.m. The race will be at 10:30 at MetLife Stadium. Net proceeds from the event will benefit the Giants Foundation. The 5K, also called the 3.1 mile race, will begin in the MetLife Sports Complex continue around the Quest Diagnostic Training Center, and then finish in the Giants end zone inside of MetLife Stadium. Giants legends, team representatives also will be joining the fans in the race as well. So I'm going to call it like this. Listen, cool events. Again, I'm not trying to knock the Giants for doing events. I think teams need to do more things for fans in general. Not just because I'm a fan, but I'm very big on people should show appreciation.
Yeah, listen, you pay all our salaries. You do all this. The reason why we're here is because of all the fanatics.
Exactly.
Let's give a little bit of extra back to you.
So you have the race Saturday morning. Now, I don't know what time they have the stadium booked until. I don't know if the stadium has something late evening, whatever the case may be. But that means you could have done the Fan Fest on Saturday. You could have done the 5K Friday night. A 5K doesn't take very long. That's like an hour or two.
No, 20 minutes.
No, but I'm saying the event. Because afterwards people will get together, they'll do things, you
normally give it a couple hours because it's going to get some people that are going to do the event. It's going to take like 40 minutes to do a 5K, which if you're doing a race, majority of those people are going to do you're going to average around 20 minutes.
Yeah, you figure.
Depending on, yeah. You're just shy of 7 miles, 7 minutes a mile.
That's the professionals. People like me, 40 minutes.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm out of shape. I could probably do in 26.
Well, that's round is the shape we're talking about. I'm out of it. So
I'm out of run shape. I could probably do in 26 minutes. I used to be able to do it in 18.
I used to be able to do an 8-minute mile. I think that's my best. When that was my best.
So it'd be a 24-minute.
Yeah.
25-minute 5K.
No, because you got to figure I'm not going to keep that speed up for the whole entire thing. Yeah.
Yeah. My best mile was just shy of 6 minutes. So.
Yeah. Now the only thing I do is
I was like Chad Powers
on the couch to the fridge and go get a beer. So
pretty much.
My running days are over with my knees. Let's get into the rest of the Giants news now, guys, for you. Before we do that, though, John says, hey, guys, don't know if you talked about this. On Hard Knocks, Indy offered the 15th pick, the 46th pick, 2025 second to get our 6th pick. Yeah, John.
John, where were you last night?
That just means you weren't watching the episode last night. Yeah. Wow. I heard.
John.
And Kelsey says, I don't know which emoji you want to call that. What do you want to call
eye
that?
roll.
Is that the eye roll emoji to your Green Bay comment? Yeah.
A lot of sass there.
There's a lot of sass there. I can tell.
Yeah.
I can tell.
I can feel the sass. I can feel the sass with emoji.
Can you feel the sass tonight?
It is burning my soul.
All right, guys. Let's talk about the contest here before we can get to the Giants news. So Rod was going to yell at me for not remembering to play videos again.
And don't forget to pay the bills.
We'll pay the bills later, but right now we're talking about the contest.
Enter to win a Daniel Jones signed jersey. Simply subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/@2giantgoofballs, and email a screenshot to 2giantgoofballs@mail.com to enter. Only one submission allowed per subscriber. Monthly subscribers at buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs will get an additional 2 entries. Contest ends when the channel reaches 1,000 subscribers. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited. This contest is not affiliated with the NFL, New York Giants, Daniel Jones, or any other person or company besides the 2 Giant Goofball podcast. Good luck to everyone.
You know, I got to say, there are some regulars on this podcast that I know are in with the comments section that have not even gone into this contest.
Yeah, I was going to say.
So I'm just saying, I'm not trying to stuff the ballot. I'm just saying, you guys sit around and listen to us idiots talk for hours on end. You might as well at least get a potential jersey out of it.
Autograph jersey.
I'm just saying, like, you know, that's where we're at, guys. That's where we're at. So, and John says, haven't had a chance yet. Having flame gums from broken teeth. Barely got on here now. You little shits. Listen, I think we were nice to John. He wouldn't have to deal with it.
Yeah, no,
what's
definitely
going on?
Oh no, we definitely give it sass to Kelsey, not to you, John.
We're like those classic Jersey boys. Like, we stop talking trash about you, that's when you worry. As long as we're joking around and mocking you, you're good. That means we like you. All right, let's get into the Giants news here. So the Giants have been doing, of course, their top 100 players here to go along with their, 100th season special stuff they're doing here, along with the Fan Fest and all we just talked about. And they released the next 10. So we're down to players 60 through 51. And of course,
halfway there.
Yes. We're after this we will be.
Yeah.
I will not live in a prayer. I don't know what the rent is.
Whoa.
Rent too damn high.
Yeah. These days it's terrible.
So we ended off on JPP. Was our 61?
You know me.
And now we're down to number 60. Jumbo Elliott, the tackle, played with us from 88 to 95 there. One-time Pro Bowler, one-time Super Bowl winner. Played an additional 6 years for the Jets as well, because he traveled with Parcells over to Jetland there. So he's a guy that, not just with the Giants history, but New York football history in general is well thought of there. Little higher than I expected, I got to say. A little higher than I expected for Jumbo. He definitely deserves to be on this list. I'm not sure 60 is the spot.
Yeah.
Call me crazy. I mean, I feel like we've had a lot of good offensive linemen. Not necessarily a lot of great ones. And that's where Jumbo goes into. Again, he's a Pro Bowler. He's a Super Bowl winner. He's a really good player, had a long history. But he's not the guy that's like perennial Pro Bowler. Like, that's the guys I'm expecting us to start going into here soon. We got, 35 Giants, by the way, in the Hall of Fame. So we're getting down to where if you're not in the Hall of Fame, you shouldn't be this high on this list. That's what we're getting into here soon, guys. So, next up, Victor Cruz. Another guy I was a little shocked on. I love me some Victor Cruz, a little salsa dance here, but I think it's a little high for a guy who only played with us for 6 years and only had a few years of really being elite like that. Played with us from 2010 to 2016, one-time Pro Bowler, one-time Super Bowl winner again, 1,536 yards in 2011. And that's really the one that makes him so famous. That and the salsa dance, basically.
100%.
To be honest, people love the salsa dance, and I get it. Listen, it's fun. It's enjoyable.
They love the story as well.
You're not wrong there. Yeah, I mean, undrafted free agent, gets hurt preseason after looking good and comes back the next year and just crushes it. I mean, yeah, it's a really good story. Like, it could be like a movie, like the Kurt Warner story kind of was.
Yeah.
Like, we could do that. Is the guy from Shazam available? They do it again. Somehow, I don't think he'd be who they cast, but
no, that's definitely there's a word for that, but let's not go down that rabbit hole. That's
not the guy. That's not the guy we choose. What about the guy from what's that TV show? New Girl. And he's been in like a bunch of movies now. I think he's got like a spot.
Oh, Winston.
And all. Yeah, Winston from that.
Yeah. He'd be fantastic.
Yeah, he could probably do it. I don't know if he could do a serious role. Anyway, we're getting sidetracked here.
Yeah.
Number 58. Pops are riddling down and keep going, guys. Pop. Yeah. So number 58. And now we're going old school, guys. We're going old school. Ray Watesha, center, played from 1953 to 1962, 4-time Pro Bowler, 1-time first team All-Pro, 2-time second team AP All-Pro. And even after his playing days were over, he turned into the OC for Vince Lombardi during the first 2 Super Bowls. So even outside of the Giants, he's got a pretty good NFL history there going as well. But listen, this is what I'm saying. And again, I don't mean to disrespect anybody, guys. Listen, all these guys in this list so far, I really haven't complained too much about individuals being on the list. But we're going to nitpick a little on where these guys are on the list. You got 2 one-time Pro Bowlers we just went past. One that had a flashy short career. One that had a long career that didn't necessarily have the flashes. I think my fair my assessments there.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to be rude about it, but we're cutting corners here because we're cutting splitting hairs here because
really
we're
simplified how that was.
The best there. Like, that's where we're at. But here's the guy. He's a 4-time Pro Bowler, made 3 different All-Pro teams, and he's right below somebody who's a 1-time Pro Bowler. Another guy was a 1-time Pro Bowler. Like, are you legit going to tell me that he's not much better than those guys? Again, going based on what he did against his peers, which is always how I judge players. Are you going to tell me JPP doesn't have a better career than those 2?
A lot longer.
I'm just saying. Like I said, I'm not trying to hate. I'm just hating the rankings a little bit, not the players.
Yeah, but I mean, we also have to take a step back because it's not just their careers; it's their Giant career.
Yes,
what they did for the Giants and what they did for the Giants at the time.
Yeah, and JPP had his best seasons as a Giant.
Oh, you're not wrong. I'm just saying you can't. You said career. I just want to make sure that this is based on their career as a Giant.
Oh, and that's all I put for the stats as far as what they played and what they did in their playing time. That's all I put. That's what I'm saying. You got a guy who was there 10 years, and almost half those years made an All-Pro team, and you barely have him ranked above people that are 1-time Pro Bowlers. Just doesn't seem quite right. And granted, part of the problem you run into is when you're an old player at that point. Listen, I don't know about you, but I didn't see him play live in 1957. So I mean,
no,
that's part of the issue you're running into.
My old man wasn't even a wet dream at that point.
Yeah, 57. My parents were both alive at that point. My parents were being born as he started playing football, like in the NFL. So that's what we're talking about age wise here. So it's like, I get it. Like none of us has seen him play. And I think that's probably what hurts his ranking a little bit. I just think that it's a little off where it should be. And I'm not sure if he needs to be lower. The other guys need to be higher. But I think JPP definitely had a better career than those 2. So next up.
Fair.
Ward Cuff, halfback and kicker. We're going to those days.
Old school.
Multiple positions here. Playing with the Giants here from 1937 to 1945. Woo! That's where we're at. That's where we're at. We got 3-time NFL All-Star because there was no Pro Bowl back then. It was the All-Star game. 5-time second team All-Pro. 1-time NFL champion there. He was the Giants' all-time scoring leader when he retired. His number 14 is retired by the Giants. And I'm starting to see, as I look at this stuff, it's some old school hate, I feel like.
I think so.
Like 5-time second team All-Pro. You retired his number. And he's number 57? Are you going to tell me there's 57 people worthy of retiring their numbers? You wouldn't have many available numbers.
No. I mean,
go to triple digits. What's your jersey number? 127?
Yeah. Ooh, it's 114 in honor of Cuff.
But I just think there's going to be some hate for the old school, I feel like, in this to a certain degree. And this is just the stuff that I'm seeing here. We have another old school guy that I coming up later here that I swore would have been a top 10, top 15 Giant of all time. And
there's definitely a few of them coming up. But like the only thing I could come back to is like the level of play 80 years ago. It's not the level of play it is today. I understand what you're saying. But I don't know the algorithm 100% on how they figured it out because
it was a voting process.
But I'm saying, like, so it is a voting process. All right, yeah. So
it was a voting process that Giants writers and different people with the Giants and Bob Pop and all those guys did, and Bob Pop is one who hosted and talks about these players.
Yeah,
here. But,
I was saying, like, if you put Victor Cruz and time traveled him back to 1937, 1940, do you think he has the same career he had as a Giant now, or does he play that much better?
But if the queen had balls, she'd be the king. Like, you can do the one.
I understand it.
That's my issue I got with this whole thing. Like, and this is what I say all the time. And this is not
I think
when I compare players, I compare how they dominated their era.
And you have to. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate when you say you don't understand how things go on. Like, you have to.
Same as the old Jordan LeBron debate. Like, Jordan was on an island by himself. Nobody was his caliber. LeBron's always had somebody his caliber, whether it's Curry, Durant, whoever at that point, Kobe. There always was somebody that was right there with LeBron. LeBron had the longevity, and that's what's making his career going to look so great. Besides the fact that he was already a top 5 player in the NBA history, but Jordan was so far above everybody else. That's why he's the number 1 best player of all time. But you have to compare against what they did against their peers. That's the fair way to do it. We're going to talk about people here soon. We're going to talk about a guy later on here soon that I know you have a great story about.
It's the best story since Gilgamesh.
Who never even made 1 Pro Bowl. But here he is higher than guys who were in the Hall of Fame.
Once again, too, like, it has to be voted on. Like, for him to be that high, too, it's like you look at a guy like Cuff, right? Who's had a great career as a Giant and did these crazy things.
What's the greatest Giant of all time, you could say, when he retired, basically. That's how good
Yeah. And then you go to, I'm not going to spoil anyone, but we'll call him Gilgamesh. But like I'm saying, like,
compared Jumbo Elliott is a perfect example. Victor Cruz is a perfect example. You got guys who were like the best of their generation, and you're putting these guys next to these guys. I just don't think that's fair. I really don't think it's fair. I'm calling shenanigans.
Eat at shenanigans.
Next up, number 56, Mark Collins, quarterback, played from 86 to 93. Was a one-time second-team All-Pro. I actually wrote that around my notes there, and it was a 2-time Super Bowl champion there, just making it in time for the start of that first Super Bowl. And he was the best corner on the Giants for a lot of that Big Blue Wrecking Crew time period there at that point. Definitely deserves a lot of respect for what he did. I'm not sure 56 respect, but he definitely I'm going to knock like every move now. I'm sorry. It's just like we're getting to that point where I'm going to split the hairs because you can do it. But listen, Mark Collins is a great Giant. He is definitely one of the best Giants to ever play. He definitely deserves respect. In fact, I've gotten the chance to talk to Mark Collins actually too as well. So I did actually invite him on the show one day. We'll see if we can maybe get him on. We got a couple of guys I got to reach back out to actually. Now I think about it, we talked to Sam Garnes about coming on at one point too. So, but yeah, again, number 56 there. Number 55, probably the best or second best Dallas Cowboy coach ever, depending where you want to rank him and Jimmy. And that's Tom Landry, who started off as a defensive back and punter for the Giants from 1950 to 1955, was a one-time first-team All-Pro, one-time Pro Bowler, twice he led the NFL in punting yards, and then was our defensive coordinator, including as his last year as a player, 1955 there. And this is that time period where the Giants literally had some of the greatest assistant coaches that became head coaches in the history of this franchise, if not the NFL as a whole. Because you have Tom Landry as your defensive coordinator, and you had Vince Lombardi as your offensive coordinator. Not a bad 1-2 combo. And this is why they went to the championship game almost every single year that time period. Unfortunately, they were like the Atlanta Braves of the NFL and only won one, but they went to the championship game like almost every year.
They showed up to the dance.
Exactly. So next up, this is the biggest shocker on this list so far for me, honestly. And again, this is where I think the old school hate's coming in big time. Steve Owen, offensive lineman and head coach, played with the Giants from 1926 to 1931. Also came out of retirement to play in 1933. One-time first-team All-Pro, and one-time NFL champion as a player. As a head coach, he was our head coach from 1931 to 1952, guys. That's 22 years, guys.
Yeah.
That's a long time. Like, he probably has I can look it up who has the record, but he probably has the record for longest tenure as the Giants head coach. Two-time NFL champion, and he's a member of the NFL Pro Football Hall of Fame there. Yet he's number 54.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That's way too high. Way too high. I literally thought he's going to be like number 15, number 20, around there, worst case.
Yeah, in the teens.
I thought he'd be much, much higher. Like I said, a little bit of hate there. A little bit of hate. Especially when you follow him up with a punter. Not trying to be disrespectful, but you're telling me he's just barely worse than a punter. Yeah. The guy was our head coach for 22 years, God damn it. Got 3 rings. 3 rings. He might have the record for most rings earned as a Giant. Like, that's legit where he very well may be. I'm trying to think in my head because, I mean, you think after his 3 at that point, you go into the 1950s to get your rings, your next ring, and then you don't have anything till the 80s. So he probably does. Now, if you want to include like Ronnie Johnson, the head trainer, who's got all 4 of the Super Bowl rings, but I'm talking about like player coaching staff. He has probably the most rings of anybody in Giants history. He's a Hall of Famer, and you put him at 54.
Blatant disrespect. Should move him up into the 40 spots.
It is. Like, if I was actually kin to him, I'd be pissed. I'd be publicly pissed. I really would. I'm pissed that he's not even kin to me. I don't know why I take it so personal. I do. I really do. Like, it's a slap in the face. Number 53, though. Dave Jennings, punter. Played from 1974 to 1984. Clearly better than a Hall of Fame coach and player for the Giants. 1984, last year, 4-time Pro Bowler, 2-time first-team All-Pro, 3-time second-team All-Pro, led the NFL in punting twice, led in punting yards twice, I should say, led him in punts overall once, and yards per punt once as well. And listen, if you knew about the Giants in the 70s, they punted the ball a lot because they sucked. So I'm just calling like it is, guys. So having a very good punter was a very big thing because you get to punt the ball quite often when you're a shitty team. We know this all too well, guys. Think back to last year. The Scottish Hammer got quite the workout with his legs.
Hey, listen, he proved a lot from all that kicking he had to do.
He had a lot of practice during the games. So, but again, no disrespect to Dave Jennings. Like, when I talk about these things, I'm really not trying to disrespect the players that I feel like that are ranked too high. But you're going to sit there and tell me that a Hall of Fame player and a Hall of Fame coach is one spot worse than a punter who punted the ball for 11 years. Like, that's insanity. That's absolutely insanity, guys.
Bonkers, if you will.
And we're going to have the next guy who played the same position he did and is not in the Hall of Fame. Number 52, David Deal, offensive lineman, played literally every single position but center at some point for the Giants. 1-time Pro Bowler, 1-time second-team All-Pro, 2-time Super Bowl champion, and a hell of a good player. He's definitely in that Hall of Very Good. That's where he's at. Not Hall of Fame, like number 54, but Hall of Very Good.
Not retired jersey number, but
yeah, but apparently he's ranked higher somehow. We're getting very hateful in this as this list goes on further. Like, again, I respect David Deal. The man did a lot for us. I'm sorry, 52 and putting this guy higher like that, that's a little ridiculous. There's a lot of bias here going based on this new stuff. And again, it's bias based on Super Bowls, which I get. I get that.
Yeah.
And here's probably the greatest example of that. Number 51, Otis Anderson, running back,
Otis,
1986 to 1992, two-time Super Bowl champion, rushed for 1,023 yards in 1989, which was by far his best year as a Giant. His best years were really with the Cardinals, back then the St. Louis Cardinals, way before he got to us. When he came into the league, he was like the best running back in the league, basically. You could not touch this guy. He got a couple injuries. St. Louis let him go to us. He was a good change of pace backup kind of running back there for us for many years. And listen, great career with the Giants. He got a couple rings. He's in the Ring of Honor and everything. But 51?
Otis, if you listen, come on show. Come on.
I seriously,
remember this mustache?
I feel like I'm being rude when I say it. I really feel bad. Like, it's making me feel bad here, guys. But you're talking about the guy spent 7 years with us, had 2,274 yards in 7 years. Yeah.
But he won us 2 Super Bowls.
It doesn't take a genius to figure that part, I know. I'm mean. I can't help myself.
So mean.
The guy averaged 3.2 yards per carry as a Giant, and he's number 51. No.
It's a hell of a guy, though.
Listen, again, great career. Had over 10,000 yards rushing. Is a guy that really probably should get another look as a potential Hall of Famer. Even 10,000 yards is like a plateau for me that you get in that conversation.
Yeah,
but he's getting that conversation because of the fact that he ran for 8,000 yards in the 8 years he was in St. Louis. That's a hell of a career. He's probably on their top 100 if they ever get one. But,
you would imagine so.
Yeah, but no, I'm sorry. That's just a little ridiculous. All the love for Otis Anderson and what he did for us, but sorry, that's a little revisionist history looking at the more modern players and ignoring the fact that you literally put a guy that's in the Hall of Fame 3 spots ahead of him, 3 spots below him. Insanity. I really think that we need to sit down with Bob Papa and discuss the old school Giants with him. We need to.
Yeah.
Next topic up, guys. We got to talk about Theo Johnson. Gio Johnson's officially, like I said, back from the PUP for almost a week now. And there's been some talk about Brian Daboll kind of throwing in some crazy expectations here. So Daboll obviously was a tight ends coach for the Patriots when they had the Gronk and Hernandez years there. And he's apparently shown a lot of tape to Theo Johnson of way Gronk played. Listen, if we can get Gronk, I'll be very happy. That'd be the greatest 4th round pick we've ever had, probably.
Mini Gronk.
Let's be honest here. And we've said it all along. Tight end is the wild card position. No one knows how to scout them. 1st rounds are bust. 4th rounds become Pro Bowlers. That's what happens. That the best of the best of the best are typically mid-round picks. I don't know why. It's just the way it works out there, guys. But yeah, the big thing for me is you can't put these kind of expectations, but they're doing it. They're kind of doing it. So Theo Johnson was sitting down with Art Stapleton. Of course, he's got his own podcast as well. He's also a writer for NorthJersey.com and the Star Ledger and all. He said there's countless times where we'll be in the middle of a meeting and he'll be like, Theo, Daves wants to see you. Pulls me out of the meeting, and I'm like, what could this possibly be about? And then he's got up a clip of Gronk just running somebody over, catching a back shoulder, and he's like, this is what we expect from you. I can tell he puts a lot of intentional eye into the tight end position. Hold on, that sounded bad. I don't say this often, but pause on that. He said, I think it goes to show how he feels about me and what he thinks I'm capable of. Like, am I crazy? Like, that's a really ridiculous expectation. Like,
it is 100%. You're talking about one of the best tight ends to play the game.
I mean, you could make the case he's the best.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
I was trying to be conservative with my ass, saying that he's one of the best.
Top 5 at the worst. He's top 5 at the worst.
Yeah, at the worst. Like, top 3 at the worst.
Yeah, like if you want to throw in, I don't know who else you want to throw in. You got obviously Tony Gonzalez, who is my number 1 still. You know, you can go Kellen Winslow if you want to go old school at that point there.
Winslow, I mean, still playing modern day. You can't leave out Kelsey, Antonio Gates. I mean, Shannon Sharp, who never gets enough credit for what he did as a tight end back then when nobody else was doing that. As I'm saying, there's a lot of guys you can throw in. I mean, Sharp helped, Gonzalez, if you will, become who he was. And, Gates had just a long, long career that was just like a – and dude, played how many years?
I just saying, I think it's a little crazy. If you want to go ahead and show him a lot of video on what Gronk did, and let me be honest and say that Dable has a very good relationship with Gronk. Remember, he tried to get him to come out of retirement to play for the Giants.
Oh yeah,
like he has a really good relationship with him. I would not be shocked at all if he set him up with Gronk and said, "Here, let's pick his brain. Here's his number." He said, "Call him whenever you need." Because Gronk, Gronk's kind of a weird guy. Like he's kind of a party animal guy at that point. He's like the frat guy that doesn't grow up. But I do think he's not a bad person.
Is he though? Or is that just his persona? It's like going to see Bert Kreischer.
Are you basically insinuating that he's Slummers McKenzie from Futurama?
Pretty much. Yeah. He goes home after he does those what's it for FanDuel or whatever. He does those punts or. He goes home after that. He hangs up his shoes. He puts on loafers. He's like Mr. Rogers. Opens up a kombucha tea.
Relaxation time.
Yeah.
Let's put some classical music on.
He's listening to Beethoven and Mozart.
Yeah.
Playing the piano.
I don't know. It wouldn't shock me. Nothing shocks me when it comes to celebrities and what they'll do for attention. But I'm just saying, it wasn't as much that as the fact that he's always struck me as a nice guy. All the vibes I've always gotten off when he talks to media and stuff like that is he's a nice guy.
He's a genuine guy. You can tell that too.
So, and he also lived here in the Tampa Bay area, obviously, for a couple of years. And I've met people that have had to interact with him as well. And they've all said nice things as well. So, in fact, I was very shocked when I found out what apartment he lived in when he had an apartment here in Tampa, because it is not at all what you would expect from a Hall of Fame kind of player.
So he's also been very frugal and very smart with his money.
I can tell he's smart. Don't get me wrong, he was still in South Tampa. So those who know Tampa, it's a very nice part of Tampa. It's probably the most expensive real estate in the Tampa Bay market there. But he didn't go for the high rise or something like that. Like he went for what was the penthouse, but in a very lesser building,
Yeah. That doesn't surprise me. He was one of those guys. I've read something when he first broke out. He would not spend any of his salary. He would not spend a certain amount. It would have to be off-brand endorsements. That's what he would go out and party with.
At least he wasn't as bad as Chad Johnson, who's literally living in the Bengals stadium for a couple of years.
Oh yeah.
But like I said, I think listen, if you can get Theo Johnson, who grew up watching Gronk, to get Gronk to like him enough to want to mentor this kid, that's great. But I don't think you 100%. Want to put expectations of, this is what Gronk can do and you can do it as well.
No, I would say that majority of the time I would say that, but we also don't know Theo. We don't know how he is when it comes to being coached. Maybe he's that player that needs that. Maybe he needs the sunshine and rainbows blown up his butt.
He needs ridiculously high expectations.
Yeah. Maybe that helps him excel. You think I could do that? Oh, and then we go out and try my best. And if you don't get that production out of him, but you get Timu version of Gronk, it's still better than half the tight ends in the league. And as a rookie, you take that.
Like I said, I just look at what he did and I'm like, you can expect that. Gronk, if Gronk didn't get all the injuries he had, okay, because he had multiple injuries throughout his career, like he would have been the undisputed best tight end. I guarantee it.
Oh,
I mean, the guy retired at 30.
I was going to say, he retired young.
At 32. He's still 35. He can still play.
Yeah.
I guarantee you put him on the field right now.
He'd be better than
starting tight end. He'd be better than most tight ends out there. He probably
90% of them
600-700 yards.
Yeah.
So listen, great guy to mentor Theo Johnson. I just don't think it's fair to put those expectations on a rookie, especially a rookie that's a developmental rookie. Yeah. And I don't know if that's what he meant to do, or if he's just kind of showing him things he can do. Because you notice it didn't say Dable said, this is what we expect from you right now, but he did say this is what we expect from you.
Correct.
So you can't expect Gronk out of a 4th round pick. I'm sorry.
But I mean, maybe you're saying, like, hey, we want you to be one of the best out there. Like, we want you to be in that competition. Like, that's not a bad thing to tell like one of your players as you're very high. We want you to be the best. We'll set you up to be the best. You just got to pull up your part into the deal and be one of the best.
I'm just saying this.
No pressure.
No pressure. We just want you to be the best. Not that you can, but the best in the NFL.
Yeah, of all time.
Yeah, like that's what we want. Yeah. A little crazy, guys. A little crazy. Let's get into some other expectations, but it does involve a rookie. Because Shane Bowen came out and said that Dane Belton is the front runner to start alongside Jason Pinnock. I was a little shocked to see that. Now, Tyler Nubin has been battling an injury all of camp. He has not been practicing until today was his first one. So it was interesting that also came out today. If I didn't know better, I'd say they're trying to fuel a little fire for Nubin to come in guns a-blazing at that point. Here's what Belton said about it. He said, I'm confident in my abilities. I feel like I've earned the right to play more last year. This year, I'm trying to take the job. So, listen, nice little quote from him. Nice little confidence there. But, yeah, if Tyler Nubin isn't the starter, then you really got to question the pick
draft
to a certain degree. No disrespect to Dane Belton because he's shown flashes at times. But Dane Belton has been here a couple of years. And we talked about it on the show before. They decreased his playing time last year on defense. Decreased. Not increased. Yeah. Decreased. And by a decent margin. So he's not bad as a backup center, guys. But I do think that's his role. I don't think his role is starter quality. I just don't. And Tyler Nubin is supposed to be the best safety in this draft. He's your 2nd round pick. He should be starting week 1, assuming he's healthy.
Yeah.
So, at least good for Dane Belton to get a little extra playing time, I guess, in training camp at that point. They're learning the defense a little better. He could be a guy that I could see being that 3rd safety. If it's not Jalen Mills, who a lot of people kind of assume will be that 3rd safety role. Dane Belton, Dane Belton is a weird player, the fact that he's given up some big plays. By the way, there's a big play that Hyatt had today, and if you look who was covering him, it was number 24, Dane Belton.
You'll figure.
Yeah, crazy. But he's made some bonehead moves at times at that point. And that's what the Giants have said, like, in private at least, but it's kind of been released that he's had missed coverages and stuff like that and bad angles that have cost him some big plays. But he's also had massive plays he's caused. I mean, the guy literally starts off in the NFL by recovering a fumble at a kickoff. His first play ever in the NFL. Like, he gets a decent amount of interceptions for the amount of playing time he's on there. Like I said, I don't think he's a bad player. But he can't be the guy you guys want starting.
No.
Yeah, he can't be. So, all righty. We're calling all video game nerds here.
Let's go.
Let's go here. If it's in the game, it's in the game. We're talking a little Madden football here because they've released some of the rankings here now for some of the players. I kind of find them always a little interesting. We've never done this before as a segment. I thought it'd be kind of fun to do.
No. It's funny.
Let's talk about it. So, first off, we have the Madden 25 Giants wide receiver rankings. And this one's going to be some controversy here. And for those Madden people, they know there's a weekly update every week during the season. And even when you first buy the copy, they give you updated rosters at that point. Well, I think there's some updates coming here, guys, because here's the list. Number 1, wide receiver, Darius Slayton at 78. Now, I think that's appropriate. I think that's a good spot for him.
Yeah.
700 yards a season every year. 78. I'm good.
Yeah, it's maybe a couple points off that, but yeah.
Yeah.
That's it.
That pretty much ends where I'm okay with. So next up, number 2, Allen Robinson II at 77. Now, if you're telling me Allen Robinson II of a couple of years ago, sure, let's go even a little higher. But Allen Robinson of 2024, 77. 77. Like, that's what you think is appropriate. And you notice I didn't even go over somebody yet. Because also at 77 is Malik Neighbors.
What?
Like, Malik Neighbors as the same ranking as Allen Robinson II? Are you freaking kidding me, EA?
Yeah, the only thing is, and they'll update too. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
But,
they'll give you the first update when you open the box. Oh, I should open the box. No more box anymore. When you download the game.
But they always give the rookie guys a lower expectation unless you're the number 1 overall, which granted, this guy was the second overall wide receiver draft that you would think he was a higher ranking, but they always give a lower ranking.
I'm not saying something crazy. I think like a 79 or an 80.
I was going to say, it would have been fair to put him at 80.
I think that'd be fair. And then you up him as he shows he deserves to be up based on what he does in the season.
Or you knock him down.
Yeah. Or we lift you up.
Yeah.
You can catch some footballs. But yeah, that to me is a little crazy there. Wan'Dale Robinson coming in at 75. Now, I'll say this. I think that I can give you pros and cons of that myself in my head because I think he's better than what he's shown so far. But we're going based on potential. They're going based on what he's put on the field. And at 75, to be very frank, is, I think, right where he should be.
Yeah. And be adjusted as the year goes on, as long as he stays healthy.
Yeah, I think this year you'll see Neighbors go up to like an 85, 86 at least, and Wan'Dale to like an 80.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be that guy. But yeah, that's where they have him at now. Then they got another guy who I think is way too high. Not as high as Allen Robinson, because Allen Robinson is like Cheech and Chong celebrating Woodstock high.
Yeah. Like the old one where they had the giant, big old joint they rolled.
Yeah. Next up is Isaiah McKenzie at a 74, guys. I'm sorry, Isaiah McKenzie's a 69 all day long.
Ayo.
Hey, I didn't mean it like that, but I'm saying like that's where he's at. He's not that good like that. Jalen Hyatt, 73. Now, I think some Giant fans will probably get some slack on that one. But remember, I think he's a better receiver than Isaiah McKenzie, obviously. But 73, honestly, what he did last year, production-wise, I'm not saying the eye test and watching the film, because let's be honest, Madden people don't do that. They're looking at what you did on the field. And he didn't have the greatest rookie season. It wasn't a bad one. He showed potential. But not bad and shows potential is a 73. That's an accurate ranking, I think.
Yeah.
He's the guy that you want to have in the mid to upper 70s before the season's done. So, next up, Isaiah Hodgins, 72. Probably about right. Miles Boykin, 71. That's a little high. And then Gunnar Olszewski at 67. Which, let's be honest, is because he's probably a 95 punt returner. That's
I was about to say.
that's probably what's brought his score up so high. So that's probably not too far off at that point. So, like I said, mixed results here. I really think if I'm Elite Neighbors, I'm putting that right on my bulletin board at that point. That's going to piss me off forever, basically.
100%.
Next up, we have the Madden 25 rankings for the offensive line, guys. And yes, I had to make that sound effect. The offensive line. So, of course, we start off with losing Rob's video and muting. Oh, I guess Rob stepped out for a second here. Andrew Thomas, of course, starts off 89. 89 for Andrew Thomas. Like that's probably where he should be, to be honest. Coming off an injury season like that. Jermain Eluemenor next at 75. Again, probably where he should be at that point. As we gain Rob back. There he is. Back again. So yeah, Jermain Eluemenor. And that's why we've been saying all along he should be playing the right tackle position. He's your second best offensive lineman now. Based on what he's played the last couple of years. So why would you want to stick him at guard, but you can stick him at the other edge? John Runyon Jr. also a 75. I wonder if that's too high or too low. I'm still mixed on John Runyon. I really am, because he's just such a goddamn good pass blocker, but he's such a bad run blocker. It's not even funny.
Yeah, and like it gets inflated because he's so good at the one, he's got the yin and yang.
Yeah,
like 75, like maybe a little more points, but that's about right.
Yeah. So, it's also kind of bad we're talking about a 75 for a guy we gave $10 million a year to.
Yeah.
Like, he's got to get better. Then we also have a guy that's way too high. The burger flipper himself, Evan Neal at 71. Like,
no, see, with the messed up on is 71% protein and 29% fat. That's the type of burgers he's flipping currently.
I was thinking they meant to flip it and say 17.
Oh, that works too. I was just talking about the meat.
No, I mean
the burgers.
He should be
probably as tasty as burger.
He probably should be mid 60s, really, at this point. I think that's probably more where
yeah, like a good old 66, 65.
They're giving him a little too much credit because of what he did in college, I feel like. Next up, Aaron Stinnie at 70, which get probably again where he should be. I think that's a good spot for him there. He's that borderline starter at that point. You can start him if you really had to, if you got a spot available for him, but he also be your best backup guard, and that's not a bad thing either.
No.
Jalen Mayfield next up at 68. Now, you notice we've gone over 3 backups now. We haven't gotten to 1 starter yet. And this is the guy that John Michael Schmitz, 68. And guys, I might get some slack for saying it. That's right.
Yeah, I was about to say, look at the production of an injured JMS last year. I'm not mad.
I think he's better than that, though. I do. I think that's going to go up.
Yeah, but if you're doing this, you have to go off stats.
Yeah, I mean his best games he had was before the injuries.
Correct. So you're looking at 3/4 of what you're looking at. Like he's fighting injury or not playing.
Yeah. Next up, we got all the backups left here. So I'll go a little quicker for you guys. Josh Ezeudu at 68. Marcus McKeithen at 66. Austin Schlottman, 65. Yadni Kajust, 63. Jimmy Morrison, 59. Matt Nelson, 55. The only complaint I have is I think Matt Nelson's way too low. Way too low.
Yeah, I wouldn't say way too low, but yeah.
No, he should be this. He should be more like, the 60s. 55 is like you shouldn't be in the league.
Yeah, I was going to give him probably 60.
I think 62 around there. I would have gone with. I think that's probably about right. So, but what an amazing difference! How many years have we played Madden? And it's like we're starting guys that are 63 is that ranking. If you think about it, the only guy we have in the 60s that we're starting is John Michael Schmitz, who's a guy that we've said has a lot of potential and probably will play better this year.
And played a very tough position his rookie year, battle injury. So
otherwise, that's on the Madden ranking. I'm not saying we have a solid offensive line in real life, but in Madden ranking, that's a solid offensive line, guys.
I'm about to go download Madden right now.
Yeah, that's not available yet though, but whatever.
Yeah, doesn't matter. I can still play the old. Last year's, and it'll update it probably with these numbers.
It won't update like that. The last update comes after the season ends.
Yeah.
Unless you got somebody else's roster you can download. Let's talk about the next group here. Edge rushers. We got edge rushers here to talk about, including the
edgy edge rusher,
Brian Burns. There he is.
Edgy edge rusher.
Feeling the burn.
Burn.
Disco Inferno. And Brian Burns is the first one up there. Brian Burns ranked at 86 overall. And I think it probably hurts to be able to do that because the pundits and media people love them some Brian Burns.
Oh,
the potential of Brian Burns that we're paying $30 million a year for. But listen, now that he's got some help, this is a guy that could be like a 90.
We shall see.
Could be a 90.
Could be.
Kayvon Thibodeaux, 79. I think it's a little low, but I don't think it's that far off. Because I know a lot of people were upset when that came out. Like, he's not that good against the run guys. He doesn't set the edge well. He's basically right now a specialty pass rusher that beat up on a lot of bad offensive lines.
Yeah.
It's a good second year. I'm not
looking at you.
That's a good second year.
Looking at you, DC.
But he's not where he should be yet. Looking at you, Jets, as well. Next up, Azeez Ojulari at 72. And I think that's a little low. I would have put him like 74, 75 personally at that point. But I can see why. They probably have him ranked like 10 for injuries.
Yeah.
That probably brought down his marks a lot there. Then we got Carlos Boogie Basham here at 69.
Boogie Basham.
Probably a little high, to be honest. But again, I think
with a name like Boogie Basham, you definitely got to give that guy 69. You definitely got to give that guy 69.
Whoa, I do not have to give anybody a 69. That is harassment, good sir. Harassment.
It's not harassment yet. God.
It is. You just suggested I have to do it. Trying to coerce me into doing all kinds of weird things. Next up, Timon Fox at 62. Probably not wrong.
Yeah.
Then they got Benton Whitley, 59. And Joshua Miles, 55. Guys, if you don't see these stats and go, oh my God, this is our edge room, and get a little scared.
This is our edge room. Get a little scared.
Yeah, it's very top heavy. I think that's safe to say. Very top heavy. Yeah. Like, perhaps we should have invested some capital into this. Oh, wait, we did. They never panned out. Yeah. And then last up, we got the safety rankings there. And there's that man. The man who just came back from injury, Tyler Nubin, in the photo there. And he's the number one guy for us. 76 they gave him. I thought that's actually probably appropriate. For a rookie safety coming out of the second round like that?
Yes, but
I will say that why is Malik Neighbors the number 6 overall, ranked 77? If this guy's 76. Who hasn't even beat out Dean Belton yet.
Touche.
Just saying. I have very high hopes for Nubin. I really do. It's not as much a statement I'm making about Nubin's ranking as it is still just being pissed off about Neighbors being only 77. Next up, Jason Pennick, 74. I think that's a little low, but here's a guy who only had 1 year. I think you give him one or two more years, and you'll see him being high 70s next year. Yeah, build up a little bit. Jalen Mills, 74, which I think is a little high. I think I would have put him like barely over 70, like 71 around there. But you know, they like the history. I mean, he's a veteran guy. He's going to have that savviness to him there at that point. Dane Belton, who's apparently our starting safety right now, 69.
Giggity.
And he's a hard guy to give a ranking on. We talked about it before. He's a little sporadic. He makes some really good moves. He makes some really bad moves. And then last up, the guy who seems to the disappearing act until that one note we gave earlier during training camp, Gervarrius Owens, who's a 64. So Owens might be in trouble soon.
I think so.
He might not even be on the roster the way things are going here at that point. unless they can sneak him onto the practice squad. So we'll give you guys the rest as they come out there. Because like I said, I think it's kind of interesting to see where they're at compared to where a lot of others are. So let us know in the comments what you guys think overall as far as their rankings. Like, is it that much of a slap in the face to Neighbors? Am I overreacting by saying that? Is anybody that you think is ranked way too high, way too low? Let us know. And that's gonna call it a night, guys. That's gonna call it a night. It is
Don't
time.
forget about the bills.
It is time for us to pay the bills first. Damn it, I did the one video and not the second. You just wait to get me on that.
Enjoying the show? Looking for more goofball action? Consider a membership at buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs. Memberships start at just $5 and give you additional goofball access. One-time support payments also available starting at just $3. buymeacoffee.com/2giantgoofballs.
I'm just not used to this. That's what it boils down to. The second video is what's throwing me for a loop. By the way, before we end up, I do got to point something out, Rob.
Oh, what's that? That reminded you middle of the show about this?
I don't know if you're aware of what next week is.
Oh, so it's the anniversary. It's coming up.
Next Thursday, the day that we're opening up preseason against the Detroit Lions, is the show's 2-year anniversary.
2 whole years. Can you believe it, Drew?
2 whole years of putting up with each other.
Right?
No.
We just talked this almost the same amount of football. So we done for 20 years.
Again, I was going to give you all of this here, but apparently the 1-year anniversary is the paper anniversary, so you can't.
Rats. Don't worry, the second year is the wire anniversary. Yeah. So I send it this way.
So, I think we're going to have to do something if we can for next week for that. We're going to try something out. We're going to try to do something. I think it'd be kind of fun to do. It might not be on that day because of the fact that all the other Giants content creators and all will have their own stuff to do, obviously, with the first preseason game there. But we will definitely do something here. So,
trivia night.
Trivia night. We could do a Giants trivia show. That'd be kind of fun. We could do that as a bonus episode or something for the 2nd-year anniversary. All right, guys. So we're going to call it a night, though. So we appreciate you guys coming on, as always. You might have had us on while you're watching the football game today as the Hall of Fame game started up there. But appreciate you guys, listening in, watching, supporting. If you haven't already, hit that like, hit that share, hit that, thumbs up, whatever it is that you need to say you like us. If you haven't hit the subscribe, that's the big one on YouTube right now. We're asking, that's the big one.
Ring that bell.
Hit that subscribe on YouTube at that point. Ring that bell. And if you do that stuff, remember to also go into the contest we talked about before. So you too can get a chance at a Daniel Jones signed jersey. I don't want to open up and show it there, but it's signed right here in the middle. Here's where he signed it. And it does have, notice the card and all. Like, this is all certified, signed and everything. Certifiable. Certified.
Actually certifiable there, good sir.
But not pre-owned. We did not give you used clothing, I promise.
It might smell a little like DJ, so watch out for that odor.
Is that when he's injured or healthy? Because there's a difference in how it's going to smell.
Touche. This smells like rubbing alcohol.
Smells like Teen Spirit. What? So, guys, we'll see you guys again Monday. Appreciate you guys as always for listening in. And as always, Giant fans, remember that we're live on Facebook, YouTube. We might go back on Twitter soon. We're still debating on that one. Yeah. Twitch, and of course, Rob's favorite,
LinkedIn.
My LinkedIn profile. And as always, we're available the next morning on all the audio podcast platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Amazon, all the big ones there. So appreciate you guys listening as always. And as always, Giant fans, remember to hit that share and like button and all that stuff. I got you that time, Rob. I got you.
Yeah, almost.
I got you. I did. You started doing it. I definitely got you.
I was getting ready.
And it's always, Giant fans.
Go, G-Man!
Thanks for listening to Two Giant Goofballs, a New York Giants podcast. We appreciate your support.
Thanks so much.
Please, I'm begging